King of Swords. The King of Swords often stands in for a powerful, opinionated, forceful man in the querent's life. He will often, but not always, have hair on the darker end of the spectrum. You may be tempted to think only about how things affect you personally, particularly when this card does not represent a man in your life. Consider the feelings of others before you act. In general, the King of Swords points to very forceful energy. You may not be able to get a man in your life to change his mind or to do what you want. You may need to change something major about your behavior, thoughts, and/or expectations. Don't overextend your reach. Work. A man in your work environment may behave or talk to you in a way that you find bothersome, but the truth is that you may be being too sensitive. He's just doing his job. If you are looking for work, a man, likely to be dark-haired and the stereotypical man's man, may be in a position to hire you, but you will have to impress him on every level to get the job. Know where to draw the line, but don't be too quick to claim offense. Love. In relation to love, the king can mean that a strong, forceful, opinionated man may be part of the scenario. If this man is your beloved, it means that you are going to have to accept him as he is, and whether you are male or female, you'll best deal with him by drawing on the feminine aspects of your nature. Don't put up with being mistreated, however. This man can walk the line between being stereotypically manly and overstepping his bounds. Protect yourself. Finances. When it comes to finance, the king tells us that you need to fully understand and face the reality of your financial situation. Hiding from it will solve nothing. It also points toward a need for generosity toward others. You may not feel inclined to be generous, but behave that way anyway. The rewards you reap will be more than worth it. Health. If you're having symptoms that are not specific, be aware that your medical practitioner, especially if they are a Western medical practitioner, may order a basal line tests. Educate yourself as much as possible before you walk in the door. Be an active participant in your medical treatment. Spirituality. In order for you to feel connected to a set of spiritual beliefs, they have to make sense to you mentally as well. You can deepen your spiritual awareness and practice by actively seeking out new sources of information and insight. Try something new. Even an oracle or reading that you do for yourself can sometimes offer new clarity. Active meditations are useful now. Tarot history. The history of the tarot is shrouded in mystery. Very little in the way of concrete information is known about its origin, although many things have been written about it. We will probably never know the truth, as fact and fiction seem to be irrevocably mixed nowadays. The tarot originated in northern Italy in the early 15th century, sometime between 1420 to 1440. Despite the fact that it is often attributed to originating from China, Egypt, India, or Morocco, to name just a few, there is absolutely no evidence that this is the case. Nor, as is often quoted, is there any evidence whatsoever that the tarot was brought to Europe by the Romanis. The name tarot is often attributed to being Egyptian, Hebrew, or Latin. This is not the case. The earliest names are all Italian in origin. The cards were originally called carte de triomphe. Around 1530 the word tarocchi began to be used to differentiate them from a new game of triumphs that was in vogue at the time. The etymology of this new word is unknown. The German variant was known as tarot and the French tarot. The symbolism for the tarot is drawn from the culture of medieval and Renaissance Europe. The tarot subjects are distinctive to European Christendom. The symbolism does not come from Egypt or any of the other exotic locales often mentioned. It is often stated that modern-day playing cards evolved from the tarot. This is not the case. Modern-day playing cards came to Europe courtesy of Islam. They were an adaptation of the Islamic Mamluk cards. They appeared quite suddenly in many different European cities between 1375 and 1378. These early cards had suits of cups, swords, coins, and polo sticks, and courts consisting of a king and 2 male underlings. The tarot adds the Fool, the trumps, and a set of queens to this system. Sometime before 1480, the French introduced cards with the now familiar suits of hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. The Joker is not original to either the early form of modern-day cards, or to the tarot, but instead originated in the USA around 1857 and was used as a wild card in poker as well as the highest trump in euchre. It is also often stated that the Catholic and Protestant churches outlawed the tarot and all who used it in an effort to stamp out so-called heretical teachings. This is not the case. The Inquisition documented what the Church considered as evidence of heresy in great detail. The tarot was not even mentioned. After the Reformation, less controversial images for the Pope and Papess were substituted by card makers as the Church had objected to the original images. It is often said that the tarot was not used as a divination tool prior to 1781. The tarot was used as early as the 16th century to compose poems describing personality characteristics. There is historical evidence that in one case at least these verses were presented as relating to the person's fate. In other words, divination. Divinatory meanings were assigned to the tarot in Bologna in the early 1700s, and this is the first unambiguous evidence of tarot divination. Ordinary playing cards were connected with divination as early as 1487. It is not unreasonable to think that the tarot was also. The tarot has often been attributed with being a pillar of Western esoterica occultism. This is certainly not the case. The first occult writers to discuss the tarot were Court de Gabellin and the Comte de Melot in 1781. The tarot was not mentioned in any occult work for the first 350 years of its existence. The terms Major Arcana, Minor Arcana, High Priestess, and Hierophant are anachronistic when referring to the older tarot decks. The historically appropriate terms are the trumps and the fool, the suit cards, Papess or Popess, and Pope. Likewise, pentacles and wands are relatively recent substitutions for the traditional suit names of coins and staves or batons. The original Italian titles of the cards were in some cases different from the later French titles that have become familiar to us through the Tarot de Marseille and its descendants. Also, the ordering of the trumps varied considerably in Italy where the cards originated. It is not known which ordering is the earliest one. Even the number of cards in the deck varied a great deal. So care should be used in making statements about the original meaning of the cards based on the familiar titles and ordering. Many believe that the Waite-Smith Tarot is the original, standard, or most authentic tarot deck in existence. This is absolutely untrue. The Waite-Smith/Rider-Waite deck was created in 1909, not even 100 years ago, making it a relative newcomer in the almost 600-year history of the tarot. There is actually no definitive version of the tarot.